Kunst and all.
Hey, welcome to Kunst and all. We are Lorenzo Alberti,
Nastasia Filippo,
and Francesco Ricci.
Three dancers who are super passionate about giving you a peek behind the curtain of the art we create on stage.
In this podcast, we're diving deep into what really goes into putting on a show. It's not just about the dances you see on stage. We're talking about the whole crew, the orchestra, the costume designers, the health teams, the admin people, and everyone else who helps make a production happen.
Exactly. We want to share the stories of the folks you don't always see, but who make everything tick. It's all about the hard work, the teamwork, and the creativity that goes into bringing a performance to life. This is Kunst and all.
Here with us today is Michael Breedan. Michael was born in Lexington, Kentucky, where he started his dance training before going to the School of American Ballet. He joined Miami City Ballet in 2006, performing lead roles in works by George Balanchine, Jerome Robbins, Justin Peck, Christopher Wheeldon, Twyla Tharp, Paul Taylor, Alexei Ratmansky, Liam Scarlett, among others. Since 2017, Michael has helped stage works by Justin Peck and Alexei Ratmansky for companies like the Royal Danish Ballet, Atlanta Ballet, Hong Kong Ballet, Ballet Arizona, Miami City Ballet, and Het National Ballet. He's currently staging Rodeo by Justin Peck at the Dresden Semper Opera Ballet. He also co-founded the Conversations on Dance podcast with Rebecca King-Ferraro, working with major arts institutions such as the Kennedy Center, Works in Process at the Guggenheim, and the Vail Dance Festival. Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Kunst and All. Before we begin, we wanted to inform you of a little technical issue we've been experiencing with the recording. There seems to have been a little phone interference going ticka 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 in just a couple of moments here and there in the episode, really not a lot, but we do apologize. We tried our best to take as much of it out. But it won't happen again because we learn from our mistakes. So please hang in there. This is honestly a fantastic episode, inspiring, funny, with the wonderful Michael Breedan.
Hi, you're recording already. Hi everyone, welcome back for a new episode of Kunst and all. Today's guest is Michael Breedan. I'm super happy to have you here with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hi, Franci. Hi, Taz. Welcome back. So, as Taz already read your bio, very, very full, I want to ask you what inspired you to pursue a career in ballet, in staging ballets, and how did your transition from dancer to stager came about?
Well, I don't know that there isn't really a way to pursue a career in staging. Unfortunately, you have to just kind of happen into it. And I definitely, the route that I thought I would try to take was to attempt to be a part of the Balanchine Trust, which turned out to be quite a formidable task. And although they were very open to me pleading my case, and kind about it, but it just is that there are so many people ahead, you know. They have, of course, so many still living interpreters, and they have to be prioritized, which of course I understand. So then there were other choreographers that kind of teased it and didn't really come through. And then finally, Justin, who is a friend of mine since we were in the dorms together, we at SAB, School of American Ballet, we lived next to each other for 2 years, over 20 years ago. And so he married one of my close friends, Patricia Delgado, who's a principal dancer at the Miami City Ballet, has staged a ballet here in Dresden.
I love Patricia.
And Patricia was like, Justin, why Michael should do this staging with me. So the first staging I ever did was with Patricia at Ballet Arizona, and it was a ballet I've never danced called Increases. Nice. Which now I just did my 8th staging of Increases last month. So that one is really in there.
You really know
cool.
it.
Yeah, my heart. Yeah, just show up.
Just wake up.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
pretty true.
Yeah. It's lovely.
It's funny because sometimes I feel that the career chooses you in a way, and you can't really be the deciding factor of what,
For sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I ever considered doing anything else. What certainly wasn't a moment where I was in the middle of my own dancing, performing career where I thought, oh, wow, actually, I'd like to do that. It just was kind of an inevitability. Always something that I presumed I would be doing. Not from a place of that I was entitled to that, but just that is certainly what I wanted to do. A set of knowledge I've been building for decades, because I was always a very obsessive ballerina.
Yes.
I had all the books. I lived at the library, which is across the street from School of American Ballet, and you can watch old videos there of basically anything you'd ever want to see, archival footage, things that are silent, like what do you call it, like film reels that you have to actually crank by hand.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's an amazing place. So I grew up. That was my education. I barely have a high school diploma, just to be perfectly honest.
It's okay.
It's pretty fake. I spent hours and hours. I would go see the New York City Ballet between 5 and 7 times a week because we get free tickets.
Amazing.
So that was my education. I was too obsessed to then suddenly retire and think, okay, I want to try to open a restaurant.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Can't cook anyway, so.
Michael, can you share some key moments or challenges in your career that have shaped your approach to staging today?
Ooh, okay. Can I paraphrase this balancing story? John Clifford will maybe hate me because I'm gonna get it a little wrong, but no, we love John. John would never hate me. So Jerry Robbins had choreographed Dances at a Gathering, and it was his biggest hit ever. And it was like maybe the one moment where Balanchine was a little bit jealous of Jerry. So John was the youngest member of the cast. He did this role called the Brick Boy. I later got to dance, very fun. But so the process was very arduous and difficult, and like a lot of tension in the room. And Balanchine sees John one day and is like, "You seem so down. You're such a bubbly, happy person. What's going on?" And he's like, "Well, Jerry's just so brutal, and it's really tough there." And Balanchine's like, "No, this is good for you." And then John's like, "Oh yeah, I'm being spoiled. I'm so lucky to be in this masterpiece." And he's like, "No, it's good for you because he's teaching you how not to be."
Oh, wow.
So I feel like I had a lot of moments. Of course, there are people I draw from. Yes, of course. I'm always going to make any ballet about Suzanne Farrell, even though she
100%.
famously has never danced rodeo. And then I have other influences that I love, like John Clifford, actually, or Willie Berman, or Susie Pilar, people like that I draw from all the time. But there are a lot of times where, I just think of the way I was treated negatively, and I just think it's very easy to not bring that into the room.
Yeah.
I loved ballet more than anything, and I want to gift that to other people. And I recognize that in order to do that, in order to have a legacy, you have to you have to uplift other people. Cutting people down isn't going to make the art look better, ever. I don't think. Or maybe in 1% of scenarios. But it also just, you can go on to have a legacy through other people. Your career is so done. You're never making it back on stage. Don't relitigate some trauma that happened to you 20 years ago through the person who's going to make it out on stage now. It just feels like insanity to me.
This, ladies and gentlemen, is the real tea. Because that's the problem. When you work with frustrated people in front of the room, oh my God.
But I get to work out my frustrations in the opposite way, I feel like.
Exactly.
I was about to say that.
Yeah. When I see people who suffer from similar things, I was sensitive. I had some complexes. I could get nervous on stage, and I feel like, of course, I had certain support, but then you also had people that would prey on that or just skirt around it, didn't know how to deal with it. And so when I can help someone past that, it actually helps me feel healed from that time. So that's another perk to it.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Now, going more into the creative process and interpreting choreography. So when staging a new ballet, how do you balance your interpretation of the choreographer's vision with allowing dancers to bring their own artistry in the performance?
That's a great question. Well, I think that luckily Justin's work is built on individuality. It's it's from this Balanchine tradition, and it's funny that people thought Balanchine dancers didn't have personality, because it's actually to me that's so opposite. And so when I'm teaching the ballet, I try to teach something that is like what I call text. This is in quotes, like the purest version of what Justin put out there, but he is so open and excited by interpretive things. There's this video of Increases, the ballet that I first staged that now I've done so much, and it's a tour, and it's very obvious that some people learned it like a day before, but it's just been up online for ages, like a bootleg video from Cuba. When I was first teaching, I was like, oh gosh, they don't really know what they're doing. And Justin's like, I love that video. They're just they're just out there living. And I was like, okay, I get it. It's like he's less precious about being so tied to
the original.
The specificity of that within reason. But I think that it's just like if you can capture the essence, the feeling of what he wants, and it's very much through the prism of your own artistic voice, then that is kind of the goal. So yeah, I don't think you have to be chained to. Oh, yeah, this is another thought I was just thinking of. Like last year I called Swanese to learn the pas de deux, and she actually before asked me, she was like, Michael, I don't know, are you sure that you want me in it? And because that's Sarah Mearns, like all I just see is Sarah Mearns in that part. And I was like, Swanese, no, this part is just a woman. You are a woman, and you have your own artistic voice, and you don't have to look like Sarah at all. You shouldn't look like Sarah, you should look like yourself. And there's definitely that much room in the role for that.
That's good.
I found so fascinating how interviewing like different guests here, what you just said, how in a ballet studio, whoever is in front of the room can make you have a completely different experience. How many people are like, oh, you should look like that, you should be like that. And some people are just the opposite. I find that super fascinating.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think about this now I'm just talking about Balanchine all the time, but there's like the later in life Balanchine ballets, there's this ballet called Faust, Walpurgisnacht, that he made very late, and Suzanne Farrell was the only interpreter of it, and then now they only let tall people do it pretty much. But if you go back, earlier things, like Diamonds was Suzanne, and then the next person was Allegra, and the next person was Kay, who are also unlike one another. And I think that if that ballet, if he had been alive longer, he probably would have put different people in it, but people get very rigid, and it's like, no, it has to be this, Amazon
specific.
Yeah.
And I think that's boring.
Yeah.
I also agree with that.
Or it's kind of a weak, or it's a lack of faith in the art. Like, if it's like, it needs to be this way, or otherwise, like, the whole structure will crumble, and I think that the ballet is good enough that it could have.
It's like the struggle to preserve the ballet, but then how do we keep it moving forward?
Yeah.
But people don't like change.
Yeah.
People don't like to change. They like to see something rigid and static, and they don't like changes, dynamics.
Yeah.
Or like see things in a different way that maybe you haven't seen it before.
Also, they don't want to be surprised. They just want to fulfill their expectations. It's like, also, I expect to see a tall ballerina in this role, so they just cast a tall ballerina.
But also when they did The Little Mermaid, another movie, it was the same.
Oh, sure.
It was the same kind of discourse, of course, on different things, but same. They want to see their expectation on. They don't want to have confrontation with new ideas.
Yeah. Or if you put it back in the ballet world, I love, for instance, the way people get so obsessed with, let's say, 32 fouettes in Black Swan. And it's like, Makarova wasn't doing that. Like, that's very recent memory. You just want a memory hole that, like, some of the most famous interpreters of the full-length ballet just fully didn't do that. It's just not a necessary thing. And then all of a sudden it becomes like, this is the tradition. Mm-hmm. Get out. Oh, that was more racially motivated, but people treating Misty like.
Yes, but I was going to bring up Misty example.
Yeah, your racism is showing if you're mad at Misty for not doing the 32 fouettes, because I don't think you said anything about Makarova in the 70s. That's a different.
Going back, how do you integrate technical precision with artistic freedom to create a cohesive and emotionally resonant performance?
Well, the technique is the vessel through which you're able to communicate.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's the means to the end, but it's not the end. I don't know how to elaborate on that. Yeah. I mean, I just, sometimes I've been told by people that I'm more forgiving with technical things than they might be. But I guess it's because I'm more interested in what you're expressing in the role, or of course you do have to be able to do the thing, but there are also, if Justin was really in love with an interpreter, he's again not that precious about, or Alexei is very like this too. Alexei sometimes, Vernansky, will just like, will leave something for dead, like a sequence that's not working that I'll love, and I'll be like, no, she's gonna get it. She's gonna get it. Don't give up yet. But it's because I think that this speaks to his own talent and brilliance, because he's not concerned. Like, he'll figure out, he's like, that thing didn't work. I don't care. Like, it's like, I'm concerned about the dancer in front of me. I want them to look their best. And it's my job to come up with something else that will work. And yeah.
So you do get that freedom.
Yeah, yes, he's always seeking to give, the individuals, it doesn't have to be, it's very un Jerry Robbins like, we're dragging Jerry Robbins. But I think he was someone, and we all know choreographers like that who are like very militant. It has to be this way. Yeah. But that's not how Balanchine was, and that's not how Alexei or Justin are, and that's just way more my vibe.
I'm just curious, like, how did your love for Balanchine start? Did you see, like, I don't know, something on TV when you were a kid and were like, oh my God, what is this? How did you...
No, I had my best friends converted me, because I didn't know anything. I was very Cuban and Russian trained, and then when I was 15, I went to SAB for the summer, so it's kind of a late conversion.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand anything, and I remember Peter Martin's telling me, like, when I talk about like massaging the floor in class,
right,
in a tendu, and I always explain like why you don't bend your toes in a tendu, because my first class with Peter Martin's is like, he was just like, no, and I literally don't understand. The only way I've ever been taught to do tendu is this way. And then Daniel Albaum afterwards took me aside and was like, this is how you do it, and this is how you do it. But that's like a more technical thing. But it was really because of the ballets. And I remember like there was like a TV lounge, and my best friends Daniel Albaum and Evelyn Kosak took me in there, and we watched all the Balanchine Dance in America videos, and they just kind of explained to me, like, watching Suzanne and Diamonds, like what it meant to be abandoned, like what it meant to push yourself off balance, and how that could be interesting or alive and immediate and free. And then we watched Stravinsky Violin Concerto, and I was just like, I can't believe I'm seeing something that is like a perfect distillation of the music. I've never seen something like that. Or Concerto Barocco. That is the most musical ballet of all time. Like, I just still remember the first time they do these hops up point, hop, hop, side, hop, hop, side. It's like, I just had chills over my whole body. Would never have ever thought to put those steps to that. And yet now that's the inevitable conclusion. I will never want to see anything other than that. So yeah, they made me fall in love with Balanchine by kind of explaining the things that were already inside of me, but I never knew I wanted to see it in that way.
I feel like in Europe, we have this conversation or like debate whether like Balanchine training is a technique or a style. And I'd like to ask a bit what your thoughts are on that.
Well, I think it is both, inevitably, like, because there is certainly a technique into this style, right? Like, when I teach how to do a turn from a long fourth, there's an absolute technique to it. It's a stylistic thing, because you do the long fourth to create sort of suspense, because ostensibly you could do anything from a long fourth. You could do a sauté out of it, you could do piqué arabesque, you could do soutenu, you could do anything. Whereas when you're doing, plie on both legs with a rounded arm, we all know you're going to do a turn. So it's a stylistic. It is a stylistic thing. I almost have to.
That's all right. That's all right.
Is that
I think open it. Yeah, from under.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay.
We're back.
We're so back. I got excited talking about balance.
That's cool.
Fair enough.
So that's style, but then there is a technique to it because you can't treat it with the same approach. You're turning from your back and your head. You're not opening your arms anymore. So that is a technical side of things that you have to teach, not just like you do a long fourth and then, sign the cross as you do it, So I think it's both.
And I think you get the effect of what, American Ballet and Balanchine and Justin Peck would have wanted by having that dynamic. Maybe you wouldn't gain from having like the fourth position, like bend with the round arm.
Yeah, it's this is always interesting because you want people to look like themselves too. So I don't expect to come into certainly a European organization and gut people of their backgrounds and techniques, and but having sort of a knowledge of what we're doing and then finding ways to incorporate that into your own self and voice, that is essential, I think.
Yes. Going on that, because I truly believe I'm not someone who stays very specific of I've done this school and I've learned this technique, so I'm going to stay like this forever. Mm-hmm. I love learning from other techniques or other styles, things that maybe could help my technique.
For sure.
And also my dancing, because I think what Balanchine had taught me, it was to be very dynamic, very fast, and create playing a lot with musicality. Mm-hmm. And I think when then you're able to show in your, let's say, Baganova or French technique, whatever it is, then to put in also those elements, I think it just enriches your technique. So I think it's just beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially now, versatility is king. I think, for better or worse.
Not for better.
I don't know. I think I have a little bit of an argument against it sometimes.
Why is that?
I fear that there is a tipping point. I think it should be for better, but now it is kind of strange at points to look at repertoire of all of, let's say, the biggest companies like Bolshoi, Royal Ballet, Paris Opera, and New York City Ballet, and Royal or whatever. And it used to just be everyone looked very different. And now everyone does jewels. Everyone does, City Ballet doesn't do
you mean in a matter of repertoire?
Yeah, yeah. So, because the versatility in terms of technique is also ostensibly to serve the repertoire. So it's certainly good, for New York City Ballet dancers now, they do Sleeping Beauty, they do Swan Lake, which of course, under Balanchine, they did not. Well, they did Balanchine and Swan Lake. But, you are expected to do such a wide range of work. And so if you have not ever dabbled in those techniques, then you will be struggling.
As a challenge, because it's very challenging for the dancers especially.
Yeah, if you've never been exposed or tried.
No, I agree with that. It is very challenging.
When you see an European company dancing a Balanchine ballet, do you go there with an open mind, as in I know I won't see New York City Ballet doing it?
Oh, yeah.
Are you you're forgiving in a way?
Well, it's just different. I mean, but there are so many people Balanchine hired Europeans,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not that it's completely at odds with his ideas. But, right now, Dutch National, another fave company of mine, because I just spent 2 months with them, last year. They're doing jewels, and there's some really beautiful clips I've been seeing. Elizabeth Tonev. I don't know how to say her last name. But someone I got to work with a lot there, I'm just such a fan of. She's so gorgeous and just is so right for everything. But she didn't have Balanchine training, and she looks so fabulous in the Ruby's Tall Girl. She's been posting things, but that's just innate. Good dancing is good dancing, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
So,
I don't think, yes, Balanchine is very free and musically driven and dynamic, but aren't those qualities you want to see always? I don't know. I don't think you go to Swan Lake and you're and now is the moment where I want to see something really dry.
Enough music.
Yeah.
Enough music. Yeah. Fair enough. So, communication across styles, since we're touching this subject, How do you navigate differences in style and background among dancers during rehearsals, and what role does communication play in that process?
Well, communication is key to everything. If you can't communicate, you can't get people to do what you want, and you can't make the art look good. So I think you also have to be a little bit of a psychologist and figure out what is going to make an individual respond to you and what those people need. So that can be hard to kind of suss out in the early days. But yeah, I just try to be as clear as possible about what the expectations are and how you do it, why you do it. And also to never insult someone, because I've seen that happen over and over from any sphere. But I remember an incident where the dancer was getting very frustrated with staff because they kept telling him it's because it's Cuban training. It's because of your Cuban training. Blah, blah. And they were just like, just tell me what to do.
Right.
You don't have to say anything. Like, yeah, I remember in Increases, the first time I staged it, there were two Cuban dancers doing this part, and you go, changement, super so. But you have to do like the way we do it, which is very tight in those bits. And so all you say is, just, really cross your toes. You don't have to go, in your training.
Yeah.
And do this whole like derogatory style thing. It's just actually very, it's very easy to not insult people. You just don't.
Yeah, you just don't. Oh my god, actually, can I just like click in for a second? Yesterday evening, I watched Whiplash, the movie.
I haven't seen it.
Oh my god, it's actually shocking. I had a little bit of anxiety while watching it because it talks about a guy who wants to learn how to play drums, and he goes into this like professional school, one of the most renowned somewhere, I don't remember where, and the teacher is awful. Like the most abusive, like not just psychological, also like he throws things at him, and it's really terrible. And yeah, it's a very interesting movie. I would say like have a look at it.
No, I've heard great things about it. And the director, who's the director? Someone famous.
Don't remember. Yes, and also won 3 Oscar. I think.
Yeah.
It's a very famous movie, but I never watched it before. I heard it many times. Even my therapist, I think, at some point was like, we were talking about something. I was like, "Have you ever seen Whiplash?" And I was like, probably because I was talking about my traumas in the ballet world. And yeah, I would say like I recommend that because sometimes we experience those things, maybe not on ourselves, but maybe we see it on others. But because we are inside the environment, we don't realize. And I would say like when you watch it from outside, so as a movie. Maybe you manage to reflect a bit more on sometimes what's happening inside. It's very interesting.
When you're talking about this, it just made me think, I don't know if you've seen this clip that's been surfacing on Instagram. Tsitskaritsa, like taking a Russian ballerina's hand, like just being so abusive and vulgar. Oh, gross. Like I have no problem throwing that man under the bus because that is just such bad behavior. Yeah. And like, did the ballerina learn anything or get better from that? No, you were just fully abusive.
Yeah.
So
is this recent? Or?
I don't know if the clip is recent. I mean, there's plenty of footage of that person being very poorly behaved. Yeah. So, quelle surprise.
But wait, while we're talking about this now, something clicked also in my brain. No, because we talked a lot about Balanchine, and actually I don't know very well, but sometimes also on Instagram I see many people like posting stuff about like how Balanchine was not really a good man with the dancers, and especially for women and etc. And yeah, so I wonder like sometimes I also think about this because sometimes I love the operas or what they create from an artist, but then the artist is kind of doomed for the way he was as a human person. Sure. How do you navigate this separating?
Sure. Well, I mean, I think if I were ever to be able to stage a Balanchine ballet, you bring the things into the studio that were great. I don't know. You don't need to emulate the things that were problematic, which, I think by and large were personal life things versus the way he was in the studio. But, this man has been dead for 40 years, and, I think it is strange to sometimes try to, like, exhume someone's corpse and be like, and judge them by a new standard. Of course, was it inappropriate that he tried to have a relationship with someone 40 years younger than him who wasn't his ballerina? Well, yes. But I would also, myself, probably not enter a studio staging a Balanchine ballet at 60 and think that it's appropriate for me to have a relationship with a 20-year-old dancer. I don't know. That's not a behavior I'm looking to emulate versus sort of the other things, the more nurturing aspects of what he did in the studio and, of course, the art itself. I think that when things become problematic or when this person is still alive and benefiting from the work, that's when it gets confusing. But, he's dead and the art is there and the art is great. And also, I think you have to listen to the people that you're talking about. You can't be furious on Suzanne's end for her when she doesn't want you to be,
Yeah.
No.
But also because what I found very inspiring and incredible is the way that people from the Balanchine Trust stage the ballet. They talk about Balanchine as if literally it's their god, it's their religion. So I'm like, okay, he was eventually not the kindest choreographer, but still these people have taken so much out of it. So there must be also a really good side of this man, and he must have been really good at his job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. It's very interesting to me. Like, for instance, we just interviewed Marie Calgary, who's just such a delight. She's so wonderful, and I just think she's also an incredible stager, wonderful teacher, was an amazing dancer. She told this story that was so brutal, and where she had put on weight, and then Balanchine told her she had no aura, and that's why she was being taken out of things, and then she pushed back and eventually, got herself back into parts that she'd been taken out of, and all's well that ends well. But that was really, there are so many contradicting things. Of course, you can't just be like, and it was all sunshine and roses, and but I wonder, like, when I think about that, because that sort of thing, when that happened to me from other people, it really broke me, and I wonder how much was because those people weren't geniuses. I'm serious. Like, are you just like, oh, it's okay? Like, I don't care. Like, Balanchine can be terrible to me because I have to come back because he is a living, working genius, and I have to be in his world. Whereas, like, if someone who's
would you have forgiven that? Not even to the Pope, not even to the most powerful person on the planet, I would forgive that.
Really?
Yeah, never. I would never forgive.
But that's me, like my personality. I forgive quite easily. Which is a pro and like has its pros and cons.
Oh God, no.
But like, it was so fascinating, this interview, because she started to be like, it started with her explaining that she was, for example, very young, and then it went to like, he called me fat and like took me out of parts. And I was like, wow. Like the way the interview escalated was so fascinating.
It makes me think about things because there are some people in my career who I will absolutely never forgive. And still have issues with to this day. But then there is like this one figure I have who did do kind of awful things at points to me, but I have forgiven. And I can't really tell you why, but I think it's because I do have some understanding that this person genuinely loved me. It's sort of like I don't know, I have wonderful parents, but I imagine how people, if you have problematic parents, but like, things are strained, but they love you deep down. That's how I feel about this person. Mm-hmm. But then some people I think are just cruel and abusing their power.
Absolutely. Coming back to evolution of ballet and contemporary integration, how do you see ballet evolving in modern times, and in what ways do you incorporate contemporary elements into traditional works?
Well, I don't know. I mean, of course, anything, I guess, you have to keep the art form moving. What I personally am interested in is a preservation of the classical vernacular still. I think that there are myriad ways in which you can dissect and reconfigure, but I do always like to see a ballet where I'm like, I know they had to take a class before this. Like, if you could just roll up in the theater. Like, I mean, that's not to say, because I think that's being reductive too, because there are plenty of great ballets where it's not that it's aerobic or whatever, or it's gonna be simple, but I don't like to totally dispense of the training. Like, why did you do bar every day of your life just to roll in mud?
Yeah.
That's also being reductive. I love rolling in mud in Riding Spring. You know, that's great. Like, roll in the mud.
Even if, like, let's say, like, for the dancers that you see on stage, because I had this conversation with a friend of mine years ago about a piece we had done at Semper. But, like, for example, if the dancers will roll in mud, but the whole show together would be, like, amazing. It would be, like, such a good show. Would you forgive the fact that, let's say, the dancers are doing a little less? Or you would say, like, because, for example, in that case, a friend of mine told me, like, the show itself is beautiful, yet I would have loved to see dancing.
Right.
A bit more. You know, that was my experience with that kind of stuff. So how would you, I don't know, see this kind of stuff, for example?
Yeah, it depends. I think I had to start looking at these things like you're just watching something different. You know, it's just, like, who's this choreographer? I think is he French? Prejlakaj?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But he did something at City Ballet that's sort of like this witchy ballet, and I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, they didn't do anything, but it's like, it's just something, you know, but there was an atmosphere, there was a vibe. It was, I was into it, but you just had to kind of switch gears, and as long as it's not completely, like, when that becomes the majority of what you're doing, then that's where I think you get into trouble. But, or sometimes I'm just like, maybe I'd rather see, like, your company do that. Like, that's what your expertise
Yes, that it's a bit more specific, like site specific to the...
Well, that's because that kind of circles back to the, like, versatility is, I mean, I think about, like, you know, in the 70s, let's say, like, the Joffrey Ballet, American Ballet Theater, and New York City Ballet, I don't think they had anything that overlapped. And now they all do Swan Lake. They all will do Balanchine ballets. You know, it's very samey because, at least in America, I think that there's this idea, which I don't think is true, that you need to package it a certain way to market things. And I'm like, I don't think anyone's really responding to ballet marketing period. Like, at City Ballet, for instance, like, the programming has gotten very predictable. It's like Balanchine program, contemporary works program, and
almost everyone.
Yeah.
Can we call it like a globalization?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
It's globalization of ballet.
It is, totally. It's like supermarkets, that now you can find everything everywhere at all times. Yeah. And it's the same with ballet industry for me, like ballet or dance industry.
Because I think in the past, like, you went to New York City Ballet to watch New York City Ballet do their thing. You went to Hamburg Ballet to watch Hamburg Ballet do their thing.
Yes.
And now I think everyone's trying to take a bit of everything.
Yeah.
But it's happening with fashion.
Yeah, I wonder also our audience, how they feel about it. Because, like, before it was like you wanted to see Kilian, you went to NDT. You wanted to see Hans van Manen, you went to Holland. You wanted to see Balanchine, you went. So in one way, I'm like, you went to see that. Like, would the audience be more interested, maybe ballet freaks or like ballet lovers would pay a flight and a hotel to go and buy a ticket eventually to another country, or just have it in their theater down the street or from where they live, eventually not with the highest quality.
Yeah, but I guess this is also making it a bit more available.
Exactly. That's why it's like very interesting. I don't find myself taking a side, because one thing I'm like, I would love to see Kilian's work performed by the NDT. But now I'm like, it's also cool that maybe me, that I'm not in NDT, are able to experience a Kilian ballet, and also that my family in Rome is able to buy a ticket and go across the street to see Kilian. So I want, like, I cannot take a point, like, side myself. But it's very interesting, actually. It's like, I wonder what the majority of people would do.
I don't know, they can write us in the comments. And
that would be
cool. And chip in with this. That would be cool.
Going more into your role as a stager, have you observed changes in the expectations or role of ballet stagers over time? And how do these shifts influence your work?
I've not noticed any changes during my time staging. Certainly, there are, I think, are shifts from what I experienced of stagers when I was dancing. I don't know. I think people could definitely be very demanding, and maybe it's just also just how I'm choosing to be. What if I just chose to be more demanding? Maybe they would still give me that. I don't know. I mean, I think that the culture of the room has gotten better, but I don't know. It's hard to say because those are just things that I would have brought in anyway.
Right.
Because I don't want to be terrible.
So, getting more into advice and personal insights, what advice and key skills would you recommend to someone interested in pursuing a career in ballet staging?
I mean, it goes without saying you have to obsessively love ballet. You have to, because it's just a very arduous task. And I think, I mean, of course, it's helpful if you're someone who naturally has a good memory. I think that was, or if someone who was naturally fast. I mean, I think you just have to put in the time, you know, that's, you spend as much time as you think you need. I spent like at least 100 hours before I went to Amsterdam for Alexei. The hard thing is that you can always do more. So it's like I would be sitting there being like, well, I could just look at a video again. I could do another, I could look at that video, but then you just can never be too prepared. It always feels better to be psychotically prepared.
I love that. Do you find that the preparation is harder than the staging itself?
Yes, gross. The preparation sucks because it's so hard. Because you're just alone with a computer.
Are you like in your kitchen?
Yes.
Like learn? Oh my god!
You haven't seen those videos Scotty has posted of me?
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
It's just me alone, like watching something and like putting slow mo on. Well, because a lot of the time I haven't danced these ballets. Like I said, the Increases was the first thing I did. And I had never danced the ballet, and I was like, that's a horrible idea, Justin. Why would you have me do this? But it actually ended up being so good because it taught me very good habits. The next ballet I did, I had done principal and core for, and I know that I would have just trusted myself to do what I did. And having staged ballet that I did not dance, I did so much more sort of archaeological work. And I think I did a much better job than later of figuring out what the text was of this ballet I had danced. There were things I was like, oh, you did that wrong. And, this port de bras, it should have this sort of arc to it, and you didn't really do that. So I staged it not the way I danced it.
Right, and correct me if I'm wrong, Justin Peck's choreography, I'm not sure about Alexei Rachmansky, it's not noted down. Like, it's not on a Banish notation. Yeah. Or is it?
No.
So it's from video footage.
The only time I've ever seen anyone with a book notation in America was when the Cranko people did Romeo and Juliet. But otherwise, that does not exist. Although I have a funny story about Dutch National, because there's a woman there who does notation. And the first day I got there, her name is Sandrine. I love Sandrine.
Oh, I worked with her.
You worked with Sandrine?
In Poland.
Oh, she's
incredible.
Really
she's
good.
really on top of her game.
It shook me to my core because it's my first day. And I'm staging this core part, and she corrects me, and I'm like, what? And she's like, looking at her. She had notated the whole ballet.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah. And at first I was, it was very intimidating. But then I had to just switch my mentality and be like, okay, you know what? This is a huge tool for me. Like, I mean, it was crazy that I was doing a 45-minute ballet with 38 dancers, Stravinsky score, by myself. Yeah. And so Sandrine became really invaluable to me. But it spooked me at first. I was like, oh my God, is she just going to be over my shoulders this whole time telling me I'm wrong? She was so wonderful. And we became quite close after.
I'm just curious, like, coming back to, like, what you need to be a stager and stuff. Were you always the company member where everyone would ask counts, or how was this?
Yes.
I was really, just kind of a little smug about a lot of things. I really enjoyed being the smart person and the person who knew all the counts, and I never wore junk to prove a point.
Oh wow.
I was like, boys, you're gonna not like what you see on a video. You have to see the truth in the studio.
We're connecting so much.
But as a stager, you're not like that. Because rodeo, the five guys, for example, wear shorts and
But shorts, I think, are a little, okay. You mean in the costume?
Yeah, when you were the last day, you're you want to see a full run, full run. You don't ask dancers to take off their warm up things.
Yeah, I guess now I'm in the front of the street. I'm actually more preoccupied with other thoughts. Sometimes I don't even see it. In the same time where sometimes it's happened where ballet masters will kind of grumble, not here, but Or maybe here. No, I don't but it's just happened to me many times where sometimes they'll be like, oh, these people, like, they're not paying attention. They're on their phones. I'm like, I literally don't see it. I can't see it. I would not notice because I'm too focused on whatever else is happening. So that's kind of how I feel about junk now. But when I was in the company, I was very much like, this person needs to take their pants off. Yeah. Especially because women are so pressured to always wear, like, sometimes there's like pink tights in the shoe. Yeah. Like sometimes it would be like if the director's coming, you need to put your pink tights in the shoe. And I was just like, and why is this person in basketball shorts next to this ballerina and I have to do like full makeup? Yeah. Like that is crazy. Fair enough. So I did it as a feminist too.
Work.
Michael, going on that, like, do you notice differences in rehearsals processes or production logistics between American and European ballet companies? Ooh. Or how do you... How do these differences impact your staging decisions? Because I believe it's also very challenging, for you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everywhere is different. It's like I can never remember anyone's rules. I mean, I was shocked that at Dutch National they don't do fives. They don't have fives.
What do you mean?
I mean what I said.
5/4s?
They do not have fives. They don't have breaks.
Oh, breaks.
You just go. You can do like 3.5 hours with no break.
Oh, Lord.
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, in Holland? And they're like, yeah, just keep driving it, And, but I gave them vibes anyway. I thought that was crazy. But then you guys, your rules, I don't really get either because it's like a 10 every hour, 15, and then, I don't know. So I have to have someone just push me around and tell me what to do. Let's see. Yeah, Europe definitely has more rules.
About like the logistic organization, for example, like how they prepare your rehearsals, how they prepare like the time given, or like what you need in a matter of the pianist, all the logistics around, like to actually allow you to do your job well.
Well, you always get more time in Europe, or you think you have more time, and then it ends up being not really what you think, because there's so many other factors. But in America, like usually I get kind of carte blanche, like I get 6 hours a day, but like really I get everyone, and I'm not like jockeying to try to get different dancers who are called to other things, but it'll be a shorter amount of time.
Okay.
Like, like the first staging I did in Europe was in Denmark, and I remember being like, okay, I'm going for 4 weeks for this ballet that's like, it's only 15 minutes long. It's mostly like short patadas. Like, what am I going to do? And it's like, oh, well, this day, like you randomly have off. It's a bank holiday. Mm-hmm. And then tomorrow, actually you can only have an hour and a half because of, this like costume fitting. And then this, so it like that kind of stuff happens way more here. Mm-hmm. So you're dealing with a lot more. So they give you more wiggle room. It ends up being the same, but it's just kind of a different vibe.
Yeah. Would you have wished that you get allocated the time before? Like you have 4 days to set the ballet. Oof. And it's going to be a full time.
4 days is very short.
Okay, let's say like 2 weeks.
I could do it. I mean, I could do
I'm
it.
sure you could.
I'm sure you could, for sure.
I prefer it this way, actually. Now that I think about it. But yeah, 6 hours consecutive for 5 days is really brutal. And that's what it really is usually in America. But to just like not stop is tough. So I like having shorter.
But how do you work like in America, for example? Because here in Europe, most likely we would like rehearse and then perform. Whether in America, most of the companies or like half of the companies, I don't know exactly, they would like rehearse all the ballets for 6 months and then how
weird.
You as a stager, you would go, imagine your production would have been in March. Would you go randomly in October and then leave, that's it? Or you would go back then in February?
Oh, you go back to. Yeah, I mean, I did, rodeo was the first time I did rodeo was in Miami City Ballet, staging. And I had just retired only 2 years prior. But I did the whole staging in probably August or September, and then the performance was February 2020. It was the last thing we did before the world shut down. But so you just go away and come back and hope it's all there.
And the dancer rehearse that by themselves, or do you just...
No, they have the ballet master rehearses it.
So they rehearse it every now and then until...
Yeah, I mean, I know that wasn't what you were asking. The dancers just, like, they find time where they can to go in the studio alone. No. Yeah, they of course, they bring it back, but you never really know, unless you're someone like Twilight Thought makes a lot of demands. Like, she's like, it needs to be rehearsed and filmed once a week, and, I want to see the video like that. Unless you're like that, then you have no idea what they've been up to, but it's always fun.
Is there as much requests for the dancer to learn from the video in America like in Europe? Because sometimes when you need to jump in, they're like, look at the video, just for you to make sure you really know what you're doing. Is that a thing also in America? Or they're like, no, every dancer has to be taught from the ballet master?
Oh, it's way worse in America.
Really?
Just work by yourself.
I mean, I learned so many ballets not from anyone official, from like the person whose spot you're going into. Yeah, the Stravinsky ballet concerto. So I was so excited. My Balanchine conversion ballet was the first thing I ever danced in my Majesty Ballet. I was an apprentice. But yeah, the dancer who was going out of that part taught it to me.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very, very common.
Okay.
And I sometimes wish more people would utilize video over here sometimes.
Yeah. No, but sure, it's a little bit of conversation we're having with Federico Frigo. He's a conductor, and he was explaining to us how the orchestra, they rehearse individually, and then they come together just for certain rehearsal when they all know what they have to do, mostly. And so the job of the conductor, the director, is just like to put everyone together. And we were wondering either though we could apply a bit more this being a dancer, so you actually learn what you have to do, so you come in at the end and...
I actually wonder, well, maybe this was just a certain... No, there's a couple places here. Sometimes, I don't know. I do think Europeans are less likely to look at a video when they're home. That's a sweeping statement. But in America, there's expectation. If you know you're going to do the thing the next day, and you're going in and you didn't spend your whole night studying that video, they're going to read you.
But also, let me add that I think it's very different the way some contracts and the safety of our contracts that we have in Europe and in America, where it's more like private companies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's hard because it's like, I think that you're, of course, there's so many things in America that are backwards and bad. But yeah, there was a moment where I got frustrated because we were doing a different group, and it was clear that most of them hadn't reviewed. And even though I had taught it to them, it was the third cast of something, and it was a group of 4 soloist role. But the one American girl obviously watched the video all night, and then so I was like, kind of in front of everyone, I was like, "Did you watch the video?" Yes. Does everyone have access to the video? Yes. Well, why didn't you look at it? Yeah. Because the clock stopped at 5 or 6 and we went home. So that I'm like, I wish we could be more, a little bit, can we find a balance? Because at the same time, it's also not okay for because there are times, like I'm saying, it's not great that I learned so many things from the person who, I was their alternate or whatever, No. Like that becomes you're shouldering the burden to the dancers in a different way.
Exactly.
Because you're not the ballet master, you're a dancer. Exactly. So it's not really your job to teach.
No, I totally agree with you. And I totally agree also on finding a balance in this. I think there must be a little bit of self-respect into your job, and also respect to others coming into that. So although I don't think it should become something that is expected by the ballet master, the rehearsal director, that you have to do yourself the work and then basically don't have to do anything. I don't mean that, but I mean like a little bit of
just preparation.
Self-preparation, exactly. It's just like how someone in the office will have a meeting, will just prepare for it, right? At home, like you prepare.
That's how I think of it. It's totally,
You just prepare for the job you're going to do. You cannot go in without having no clue about what you're going to do, and you expect that everyone is going to shout you or like tell you where to go. And I think it's really like self-respect and respect towards your colleagues and the people you have in front of you, that you work with.
Totally.
It comes down to that.
Talking a little bit about audience expectation, from your experience, how do audience expectation and cultural influences differ between the US and Europe, both in staging and the interpretation of roles by dancers?
Interesting. Well, I mean, they're just inherently vastly different tastes. And, of course, also innately European audiences are just more respectful and they're just better audiences. I mean, in New York City, sometimes people are just out the door when the curtain has hit. They don't, people are like, I gotta go get my car. Or,
I don't want to be in line before getting my car.
Do not respect it in the same way.
Yet I feel that they're very enthusiastic.
Well, it
depends.
And
it depends.
I don't know. It just depends.
That's the vision I have.
Yeah.
Are they more into like story ballets or like triple bills? Because they want a lot of different stuff. It
depends. I mean, like Justin just had a premiere a couple weeks ago, and he has quite a solid following that he has accrued from his more commercial work, like Broadway and film, and so he has young people that are interested in his work, and they come, and they're very enthusiastic. But sometimes they like the triple. Like this is why I think the programming needs to be a little more diverse. Not necessarily what they're programming, but how they're doing it, because I think you like silo off. It's like, this is our audience for the Balanchine ballets. This is the young people audience. Young people, it makes it seem like young people can handle a Balanchine ballet or something.
Okay.
Whereas I remember there was a program so Justin did this great ballet called Everywhere We Go, which was an early hit of his. But he was also with Sufjan Stevens, who's also popular with young people. Mm. So it's a premiere, and a lot of young people are in the audience, and they're there for that ballet, obviously. But Ortiz was on the program, and there was something else that was like Legacy, and I was like, it is so great that the audience had to watch those things before they got the thing they came for. And then you educated them, and now they know who Balanchine is and want to see other things.
That's great. I have two questions. I will ask them both before I forget them. The first one is it's a thing in America to have like family shows, or like, because I know in Italy, for example, they do things under 26. So if you're only 26, you can attend that particular performance. And also my second question is, because yesterday we spoke about it, and I wondered, are the audience more interested in what they wear at the theater or in what they see?
Okay, definitely in Miami, it's what they wear. I mean, people wear fur coats in Miami to the ballet.
Wow. Also in Miami?
Yeah.
That's why warm?
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's silly. It's just to show off. You only have, like, you just want to wear a fur, so you wear it to the ballet, but you don't wear it outside, but you come in with it, and then it's very silly.
Oh, wear a fur with -10, maybe.
Yeah. They're just showing off, and so they don't care about ballet.
Very interesting.
For sure. Oh yeah, but of course there is programming towards families, and New York City Ballet, they always do that sort of thing, and yeah, that's important. Balanchines, like they did this one family program with something like, it sounded really rude. Oh, it was Swan Lake, Afternoon of a Faun, Firebird, and Western Symphony. That was like, that was their like family program they did all the time. That's like 5 hours long.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, are the girls dead after
Yes. Wow.
Yeah.
Looking ahead, are there any particular works or new ideas you're excited to explore in future projects, and how do you envision these projects contributing to the evolution of ballet?
Oh, like things that I'm personally doing, or things that I want to see in other people, or
both.
I've talked a little bit about rodeo being a part of this larger, not on this podcast, but I'm saying in the studio, I talk about rodeo as part of a larger work called Copeland Dance Episodes, and that's sort of my dream staging. It's a 75-minute work by Justin. It's his first full evening. I mean, I think that's it's a light full evening. Oh no, they just added an intermission now. So now now we're 35.
Can you do that? Like, Justin required to add an intermission, or this theater is like,
I think that I don't really know why that happened, but maybe the odd concessions or an intermission. But yeah, so that is a ballet I love. I think it's his magnum opus. It's so good, so cinematic, and I saw it 3 times in a row, and it's just like every time you see it, you discover something new. I cried the whole second time I saw. It's like when you see a movie that you loved it the first time, but then when you anticipate everything, it somehow makes it even better.
Yeah.
Like versus the opposite of like the suspense is gone. It's like you see the craft and the structure there. It's so good. Anyway, so that is my dream ballet, and it may or may not be happening in my future for staging. So
we wish you the best. Hopefully.
Hopefully it will.
Yeah.
We're manifesting here.
Yes.
Yes.
Manifest.
So that is, for me, that's personally what I am excited for. But you're thinking like longer term ballet future. I want to see more people using the ballet vernacular in an interesting way that is unique to them. It's, of course, very hard. Like, I think choreography, our old director, Edward Lella, used to say, choreography is the most elusive form of art for like a master. It's like said you could only name on two hands the number of great classical ballet choreographers. How many great violinists can you name, like genius violinists could you name working today? You can't name them all. Mm-hmm. And I kind of think that's true. So I just want there to be more people, taking risks, but still rooted in classical ballet.
Should we get into the final questions?
Sure.
Yes.
So we have these 5
lightning round.
Yeah, it's like we have these 5 questions we ask every guest. So the first one is, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received about art and creativity?
Oof. I guess, what did Twyla say? Like, nothing is original at all, and you just have to get over that. Like, if you don't be hung up on that idea, nobody will ever utter an original thought ever again. You just have to be honest.
Yeah.
That's good. Michael, if you would collaborate with an artist, living or deceased, who would it be and why?
Well, it would be Liam, because I missed him immensely. That's why.
Can we talk a little bit about this? Because I also worked with him, and he was just one of the greatest person I've ever worked with, been in a studio with. Mm-hmm. He just got me as a dancer, and I felt so seen, and I was just like, corps de ballet. I remember when he came to cast the piece, I was like, he watched class to pick his dancers, and I was like in the corner in the last line, because I was like, there's no way this incredible choreographer from Royal Ballet will pick up a second-year corps member. And he casted me for the lead. I learned the lead, and he created a full duet on me. Like, he was incredible. Mm-hmm. So, can we talk a little bit? Like, how did you meet him? When did you work with him?
Well, he came to create a ballet for Michael Sean Ballet. I left the company for 1 year, and he kept asking them, like, "Are you sure he's leaving? Are you sure?" Like, I wanted him with a ballet. But then we stayed in touch that year, and then I came back right away. I actually guested with the company while that premiere happened. So we stayed in very close contact with Michael Sean Ballet, because I left, but I was still guesting that whole year. It was a very short time away. And then when I came back, he was making another ballet, and it was the only time anyone ever picked me to do a pas de deux, like a real pas de deux, because I'm little and, fast, and so I can do fast little people things. And I was always put in a box in that way, but this was my only time I ever did like a big pas de deux in capital letters. So yeah, it just, no one ever appreciated that side of me or saw me in that way, and Liam didn't think twice about it. And, I never felt more seen than I did in the studio with Liam.
I had the same exact experience. It's crazy.
Can we just say about name and last name, because for the people who don't know,
Liam Scarlett.
Yeah, for people that they're not in the ballet world, maybe they don't know him, so at least we give him a full name.
Yes, I'm the worst about this. I'm always like, Maria, and I'm talking about Maria Talchi through, or someone who's been dead for 60 years. Yeah. I'm talking about Suzanne's mom.
Michael, in your opinion, what we should invest in, whether technology, education, or collaboration, to ensure that dance as an art form remains a living, evolving art form for future generations?
Education. But I think it has to be it's not even, it's so scary to me that I can go teach kids, I teach a lot of different places when I'm not staging. I'll try to do pickup things because gotta pay the bills. Yeah. So you teach different places and a lot of not serious places, but or recreational, not serious. They take it seriously, but they're not aiming to be professionals. But these kids, like they're in New Jersey public school or New York public school, and they don't know who Tchaikovsky is. When I was I don't know what's happened in America. I mean, I know we've gutted our arts education system, but I grew up in Kentucky, in public schools in Kentucky, and in 3rd and 4th grade, we had music class every Friday, and we learned a new composer, and this teacher would identify why Tchaikovsky didn't sound like Copland, didn't sound like Brahms. This was in 3rd grade, and that stayed with me forever. And I think other kids in that arena, that they would remember that sort of thing too. But if nobody's telling you anything about the arts, and like you're in a ballet class and you don't even know what like ballet is, how the training then becomes a living art form, then I think you're just really screwed. So education,
Education,
Totally
couldn't
agree.
agree more.
yeah.
And very lastly, what does success mean to you?
Success, I'm going to say something really hackneyed and cheesy, but success to me is when the dancers have an experience that they'll remember positively and feel like they became a better version of themselves, or the truest version of themselves on stage.
And is it different from how you imagined it at the beginning of your career?
Right now, it is what I'm experiencing is very different from what I ever imagined, for sure. I don't think I thought too much about it when I was dancing, but then when I stopped dancing, I was very, very, very sad and just thought, well, I guess I'll never, I don't know, be happy again. Or like, it was very alarming to be like, I could maybe never experience joy in the way that I experienced. And then I found this, and I was right away like, oh, this is even better because I don't have to rely on myself. Like you put so much stress on yourself and your singular voice and your singular talents, but then now I get to exist through the 20 people on stage and their talents. That's a much stronger way to experience art. So it's even better.
That's great.
Well, I would say we wrap it up. So thank you so much, Michael. It was very interesting to have you with us.
Thank you. This was so fun.
Thank you so much. You're
Thank you
a
for-
super inspiring, highly energetic person. It's a pleasure to talk to you. We could go on forever, I feel.
Yes.
So
Thank you also for everyone who listened to this episode and all the previous one.
You can also listen to Michael's podcast, Conversations on Dance.
Yes.
Exactly.
And we'll be sure to plug you on our podcast too.
Oh, nice. That would be nice.
Yay!
You guys are really good and pros and have really interesting
Yeah. we look
interviews
forward.
there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys.
So thank you all. Bye.
Ciao, ciao.
Kunst. And all.
Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. If you enjoyed this podcast, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any artful updates. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Amazon Music. Also, make sure to follow us on Instagram at Kunst and all for more content. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so feel free to reach out and share your feedback. We are Lorenzo, Nastasia, and Francesco. Until next time, stay kunstig.
Amazing.